The FIA just revealed something Ferrari never advertised. And we are only days away from the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of the season. The moment when months of secrecy meet the stopwatch. Buried inside technical documents are details about a fresh 067/6 engine specification, refined exhaust flow geometry, and recalibrated energy deployment maps for Melbourne. Not a flashy Spec B. Not a brand new car. Something far more dangerous. Optimization. Here is why that matters. In modern Formula 1, 0.2 per lap can mean the difference between pole position and third on the grid. And Ferrari's blown exhaust and diffuser refinements are estimated to deliver exactly that kind of gain in traction and medium-speed corners. Now combine that with a smaller, more reactive turbine designed to reduce turbo lag in slow corners like Turn 3 and Turn 13 in Australia. That is not random. That is targeted. Because at Albert Park, more than half of meaningful overtakes are shaped by corner exit speed and energy deployment efficiency down the following straight. If your throttle response is instant and your electrical boost does not clip early, you control the fight. If it hesitates, you defend. And defending burns tires. Even more intriguing? Ferrari's long runs in Bahrain showed stable energy management and competitive top speed with the rotating rear wing active. Which means this package is not experimental. It is validated. So the real question is simple. Did the FIA just confirm that Ferrari refined the one area that decides races at Melbourne? Or are we about to discover that the narrow setup window Hamilton warned about becomes their biggest risk? Stay with me. Because what Ferrari adjusted inside that engine and exhaust system could decide the Australian Grand Prix before the first pit stop even begins. Ferrari is not arriving in Australia with a completely new engine architecture. And that is exactly what makes this so dangerous. Because when the hardware stays within the same concept, but the details are sharpened, it means the foundation already works. The SF26 that lands in Melbourne is built on the major evolution we saw in Bahrain. The blown exhaust philosophy. The extended diffuser geometry. The rotating rear wing working in harmony with the exhaust flow. That package already showed promise. Australia is about extracting more from it. At the center of these refinements is the 067/6 power unit. For Melbourne, Ferrari is introducing a fresh race specification with adjustments in the hot section and a smaller, more reactive turbine. That smaller turbine is critical. Because turbo lag in slow corners can destroy exit speed. And at Albert Park, corners like Turn 3 and Turn 13 punish hesitation. If throttle response is even slightly delayed, you lose momentum onto the straight. If response is immediate, you gain meters before the DRS zone even begins. Ferrari's goal is simple. Sharper low gear response. More stable traction. Cleaner power delivery when the rear tires are under maximum load. But there is another layer. The team has refined the contour of the diffuser and the environment around the exhaust to better channel hot gases into the expansion zone. This is not just about power. It is about downforce. Hot exhaust gases energize airflow. Airflow stabilizes the rear. A stable rear allows earlier throttle application. Earlier throttle equals higher exit speed. And at a circuit where overtaking is heavily influenced by corner exit performance, that matters enormously. Now combine that with optimized energy maps calibrated for higher temperatures. Albert Park can be unforgiving in the heat. If electrical deployment clips too early, you become vulnerable at the end of the straight. If energy release is inconsistent, defending becomes harder. Ferrari's long runs in Bahrain suggested strong stability in this area. Minimal clipping. Competitive top speed. Sustained deployment across stints. But here is the tension. Hamilton has openly mentioned that the SF26 has a narrow setup window in hot conditions. If rear temperatures rise too much, traction fades. If brake balance drifts under heavy stopping, stability suffers. And Melbourne is heavy on braking. So Ferrari is walking a delicate line. Maximize traction through the blown exhaust and turbine refinement. Preserve rear tire health over long runs. Stay within the tighter FIA limits on active aero behavior. Because the rotating rear wing system must now operate under increased scrutiny. That could slightly reduce drag reduction compared to testing conditions. Which means Ferrari's advantage must come from pure efficiency, not clever loopholes. Now imagine the opening lap in Australia. The Ferrari launches cleanly. The smaller turbine responds instantly. No hesitation in second gear. The rear feels planted under braking into Turn 1. Out of Turn 3, the throttle opens earlier than the car ahead. Electrical deployment remains stable down the straight. That is not dramatic. It is decisive. Because at the front of the grid, races are rarely won by massive margins. They are won by small advantages repeated lap after lap. If Ferrari's refined 067/6 delivers that repeatable edge, they become more than contenders. they become a serious threat from race 1. But if the narrow setup window bites, if rear tire temperatures spike, if energy deployment fades late in the stint, then the same refinements that promise performance could become vulnerability. Australia will expose the truth quickly, not just in qualifying, but over the first long run. Watch how the Ferrari behaves in traction zones. Watch whether throttle application looks confident. Watch whether acceleration feels sharp and immediate. Because if it does, then the FIA did not just reveal minor tweaks. It revealed a team that may have quietly unlocked the exact performance profile Melbourne rewards most. But now we arrive at the part that could quietly define the entire weekend. Because performance in Australia will not just be about peak speed. It will be about control under pressure. Ferrari's biggest strength in Bahrain was not headline lap time. It was consistency. Long runs looked stable. Energy deployment remained clean. The car did not appear nervous over multiple laps. That matters at Albert Park. This circuit rewards drivers who can attack braking zones without unsettling the rear. It rewards cars that can rotate confidently in medium-speed corners. It punishes instability. And this is where the refined exhaust and diffuser package becomes crucial. By channeling hot gases more efficiently into the expansion zone, Ferrari increases rear stability under throttle. Stability under throttle means earlier power application. Earlier power application means better straight-line speed before DRS even activates. And in a track where overtaking windows are limited, that first acceleration phase is everything. But there is another psychological dimension. Lewis Hamilton has described the SF26 as one of the most complete cars he has driven before a season opener. That is not a casual comment. That suggests trust. Trust in braking feel. Trust in front-end bite. Trust that the rear will not surprise him when pushing deep into turn 1. At the same time, he warned that the operating window in high heat can be narrow. That is the tension. Ferrari may have unlocked raw potential, but unlocking it consistently under Australian temperatures is another challenge. And then there is Charles Leclerc. He believes the blown exhaust and diffuser refinements improve traction and rear tire management over long stints. If that proves true, Ferrari becomes extremely dangerous on Sunday. Because race pace wins in Melbourne more often than pole position alone. Now imagine the strategic scenario. If Ferrari qualifies near the front and holds position through turn 1, their refined turbine response and stable deployment maps allow them to manage pace rather than chase it. Managing pace means controlling tire degradation. Controlling degradation means extending stint flexibility. Extending flexibility means dictating pit windows. And once you dictate pit windows, you dictate pressure. But here is the risk. The FIA's tighter oversight on active aero behavior could slightly reduce the effectiveness of the rotating rear wing compared to what was seen in testing. If drag reduction is marginally trimmed, Ferrari must rely more heavily on pure engine efficiency and traction gains. Which brings everything back to the 067/6. If the smaller turbine eliminates hesitation in lower gears. If energy maps prevent clipping under sustained load. If the exhaust-driven diffuser continues to feed stable rear downforce lap after lap. Then Ferrari will not just be quick. They will be relentless. But if correlation between simulator and track proves imperfect, as some whispers suggest, if setup drifts outside that narrow thermal window, if rear tires begin to overheat in traffic, then the advantage shrinks rapidly. Australia will compress all of this into a few decisive moments. The launch. The first heavy braking zone. The first traction test out of turn 3. The first long run under fuel load. And that is where we will see the truth. Not in the headlines. Not in winter hype. But in how the Ferrari behaves when pushed to the limit. If it looks planted. If acceleration feels instant. If energy deployment remains strong deep into the straight. Then the FIA did not just reveal minor refinements. It revealed a Ferrari that may finally have aligned engine, aero, and driver confidence at the exact right moment. And if that alignment holds in Melbourne, the championship narrative could shift before the season has even truly begun.